look forward to that. Well, who is this guy up here anyway? You know? First of all, good morning, fellow class. Good morning. If you don't know me, my name is Dan Muller, and I'm the other half of Tammy's leadership here. So, but it's a job that I take on with many other jobs, and that job is being an area director for CBS, and that includes not only our class, but also 2 classes up in Colorado Springs. So, and basically, what does an area director do? In very simple terms, an area director links the classes, particularly the teaching leaders, with the Colorado Springs Ministry Center. So we kind of play a liaison position between the two. So there you go. There won't be a test on that. Well, I'm sure every one of you are aware of CBS's 50-year celebration last year. I had to scratch my head. We're no longer in the 50-year celebration because we changed New Year. But in 2025, that was the 50-year celebration for CBS. And there was just a whole lot going on about that. But I started thinking about 50 years ago. And I know that some of you over there probably could be excluded from this conversation, but I see a lot of shaking of heads. So 50 years ago, what was going on in the United States 50 years ago? Well, I just thought I'd kind of do a quick review here. And the first thing is Ford introduced the F-150 pickup. Did you know that? I had an F-150 once, and I never knew it was and we're celebrating 50 years, so it was 1975 that CBS started. And so Ford celebrated the 50-year celebration from 1975. The Vietnam War had just ended, or was in the process of ending. And I didn't realize that either. I couldn't recall that. We were introduced to the Kool-Aid Man, which, if you remember, a water pitcher with a face, kind of a goofy looking thing. And then there was Jaws. Jaws was the highest grossing movie that year. And if you remember Jaws, it was such a remarkable movie. Gas was only 53 cents a gallon, but I do remember gas being down around 20 cents or below, so I must be really old. Wheel of Fortune had just debuted, and a movie ticket was $2. That is surprising. The number one song, can anybody guess what the number one song was? 50-year-olds. We don't want to show any age here, but Love Will Keep Us Together by the Captain and Tennille. Who is the Captain and Tennille? Yeah, that was cool. So, and then the other thing, I just kind of leading into my discussion here, what I'm trying to present here today was CBS held its first class, like I just said, in 1975. Since its beginning in 1975 in Bethesda, Maryland, believe it or not, Bethesda, Maryland, and through studies of God's Word, CBS's priority has always been to place us, CBSers, at the feet of Jesus. Today I'd like to give you a few thoughts about us being at the feet of Jesus. And the text I'm using here is from Luke 10, 38 through 42. And I'm sure as I get into it, it'll be very familiar to you. So let's just start in verse 38. This is about Jesus and his disciples heading to Jerusalem. And they stop off along the way to visit Mary and Martha. I'm sure they were on the way there. So it was a little town outside of Jerusalem called Bethany. And so they stopped off to visit their friends Mary and Martha. And both of those ladies were sisters. So Martha, being who we all know she was, I think Martha had a real gift of hospitality. I always like giving her credit in this story. She had a gift of hospitality, but she was also busy preparing a meal. She was busy. Let's just leave it at that. She was busy in the food area. And Martha, or where was Mary in this whole situation? Well, she was with Jesus, at the feet of Jesus. She was listening to his words and his teaching. Martha was kind of critical of that. Where's my sister? She's out there with the Lord, listening, and instead of helping me. And Jesus realized this. It's always, I think, reading the Word, it's always just a beautiful thing to see how Jesus senses these issues. But he says, I'm going to quote here from verse 41. My dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. Remember all these details. There's one thing worth being concerned about, and Mary has discovered that. So all these details, do you ever get distracted with details? I know I do. Distractions with details are all the time. And what are details in our lives today? They can be distractions, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they are distractions, but they can be distractions. I want to emphasize that. They could be our families, our jobs, our church involvement, home tasks and responsibilities for us guys. Sometimes that's really overwhelming. And then I got to admit, it can even be CBS in our studies, in our preparation for our CBS roles. And we can easily get distracted from our main priority. And what's the main priority? Sitting at the feet of Jesus. A devotional book titled, and I started to really kind of develop more of an appreciation for this in this devotional book I use. It's called All to Jesus by Robert Morgan. And it significantly helped me gain a better perspective of all these details. And here's a quote from a missionary who was quite busy and almost to the point he died because he was so busy. Here's a quote from his book. If we're always worried about all these details, there's all those details again, we'll break down. You can turn them over to the Lord and he'll take care of them and us. So, here's a missionary that realized that the busyness of his schedule, and again, his health was very seriously affected. And so it's all about turning all these details over to the Lord. I have a little note in my devotion time that says that, and I'm constantly using it. So being at Jesus' feet has been a CBS priority for 50 years, and it will continue to do so, I'm sure. And let me just comfort you all by saying if you're a part of CBS today, which you're here and present, I know you are seeking him, and I commend you because you are taking time to truly sit at his feet and learn from him. I see all of you sitting at his feet as we get into our CBS studies and the roles we play. So I think I'm trying to do. Where's my time? Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, you're done?
So, Tammy said I was going to go fast, so I probably went too fast.
Okay. Are you really done, or are you just saying that because I said 2 minutes?
No, I'm done.
All right.
You need the mic?
I do. I'm trying to figure out how to end the live stream.
All right, I just have a couple of quick announcements. We are moving some people today. We have 3 core leaders out. So if you are in Lynn's group, you're going to meet in the back of the sanctuary where Lee's group meets. The 2 groups will be combining. And then Michelle and Berla's group will be upstairs in one room. We'll be combining up there. So you still go up to the same area, but we'll be combining. And we will see you back here in about an hour. Thank you.
I gotta figure out how to.